Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 143. And I am Virtue, the moderator, being joined by this week's elite panel of NoDQ. Big G is back, Jeff Meacham is back, and of course, Aaron Riff. What's up, everyone? Aaron, I'm going to start with you because I always save you for last. What's up?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to talk about wrestling. We have some interesting topics, as we tend to do, but this week we have Summerslam as a main topic, and Summerslam is shaping up to be a pretty big deal with WWE planning to go to Las Vegas. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking a little bit about AEW with Andrade appearing on the Friday Night Dynamite. I did get a chance to finish up watching that Dynamite episode, and I'm sure we'll talk about that some. Good to have Jeff Meacham and Big G on. We just chatted the other day, last night, with the predictions for NXT TakeOver. Make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already, and I'm ready to go. Let's do it. All
right, over to you, Big G, who is just happy to be here.
I'm always happy to be here, and I'm making it
until the very end.
Last night.
Seems like you get more agitated than I do when people start super chatting at the end.
It is what it is. But
why is that? Because you don't want to answer their questions because it's too much thought process of your wrestling knowledge?
Not really. It's just all the questions just come in at once, and it doesn't give me really any time to think.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had like some Lifetime Movie Network shows to watch with the lady or something.
No. It just all those questions coming at once. I really, like I said, doesn't really give me a chance to think. Otherwise, I'm always happy to be here. I'm doing good. You know, wedding is right on schedule, less than 3 months now. So let's get this ball rolling, like I say.
Okay, and now over to you, Jeff Meacham, the long-winded one, Jeff Meacham.
Yeah, seriously, it's been a day of long-winded here at the studio for sure. I'm excited about this. There's a lot to talk about. There always is a lot to talk about when we have the NWA review. I'm much like Big G. I'm happy to be here every week because I've enjoyed being back with you guys. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get Virtue's request in to be under an hour. We'll see how it goes today.
We'll see. It all depends on how the NoDQ Galaxy treats me this evening with that. But all right, we'll get started here. First topic, and making his AEW debut, Andrade. I'm not even going to say his whole name. Like this, whatever. It's Andrade. We know him as that. He is over there in the toy ring of Tony Khan's, and I'm sure he will not be the last. So what's everybody's thoughts with Andrade, and will this make for some awkward moments for Charlotte Flair? Because we know how petty some of those people in the back for WWE can be. Jeff Meacham, I'm going to start with you on this one.
I'm not really sure if it's going to affect Charlotte the way that people will be thinking. I know that there's the connection because Andrade was paired with Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad, and her and Aleister have definitely been raked over the coals as far as over social media and whatnot. But I don't think there's that kind of heat with Andrade the way it was with Aleister and Zelina. So I think Charlotte will be okay. Plus, it's Charlotte. She's a Flair. She'll deal. She'll rise above. She always does. But I am intrigued to see him there. I'm not surprised that he showed up. Interesting to have Vicky Guerrero introduce him. I mean, I get the whole Hispanic introduction. That's great. But if they're gonna, we'll see what happens tomorrow night on Dynamite. But if they're gonna pair them together long term, I don't see that being good for Andrade. Nothing against Vicky. I love Vicky, but I don't see that being a viable, successful pairing long term in AEW for Andrade. Andrade needs to do his own thing.
Well, let me ask you this, Jeff. Do you feel that Charlotte is a WWE lifer?
You asked me a year ago, absolutely. But Paul White's there now at AEW. Mark Henry is in AEW. Sting, left the bubble of the Legends contract to go dance in Tony Khan's playground. So I don't know. I would love to say yes, but I'll tell you right now, if enough money gets waved in the face of Nate, he's going over there, and it won't be too long that his daughter may say, yeah, you know what, we may have better better time over there. We'll see. Money talks, and we've seen it. And a lot of people accuse Vince of being a bullshitter, and money talks and bullshit walks. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I've always been a fan if wrestlers and workers and talent can't get paid by Vince McMahon but can get paid elsewhere. So Tony Khan throwing money at them, I'm actually in favor of that, right?
Exactly.
Because I like to see the wrestlers make a good living and not have to work the indies, which is more of a carnival tour, wheeling and dealing and stuff. But So yeah, Andrade is there now, and all the different possible matchups there can be, and we'll have to see what happens with that.
Well,
Yes,
it's funny you mentioned as far as the money elsewhere. There was that media call today from Triple H about, and he got asked about the women's pay-per-view, the NWA Thon, which we're going to talk about later. Thunder Rosa was very quick to point out that they're not the only company with talented people on that roster as far as the females go. So, the women in WWE, yes, they are getting paid very well by WWE, so we think. But there's a lot of competition out there that's unsigned or not, working for just one company. So,
right.
If this pay-per-view in August is going to be very interesting to see who Mickie lines up.
We'll stay tuned. We'll come back to that. All right, Big G, what's your thoughts here on Andrade?
Well, first of all, he came out to no music whatsoever, which is fine. People were holy hell and what else? But Vicky introducing him, it was just weird. I didn't understand a word she was really saying. And I don't know if she was speaking really fast or if the crowd was the crowd's gonna what's the word I'm thinking of?
When did we really ever know what Vicky Guerrero was saying other than excuse me?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So, but Andrade being there is cool. We'll have some good matchups, and hopefully, we'll see him versus Miro for the TNC Championship, and then hopefully, whoever is the AEW champion at the time, have him face Andrade and go from there, and we'll see how long Andrade stays in AEW. He's facing Kenny Omega for the AAA championship here pretty soon. And Charlotte going to AEW, like Jeff said, money talks, and like you said, Paul White, Mark Henry, Matt, well, not really Matt Hardy. He's been to Impact and stuff like that. Same with Christian,
yeah.
But, the majority of their career, they were in WWE, and never say never. If Tony Khan is flashing that money, I'm sure Ric Flair will get an RKO from Randy Orton and his butt will head over there too.
Yep.
So.
That's what the
Charlotte
big thing
Flair
is.
did not get an RKO from Randy Orton because you might be going to AEW.
Anytime WWE releases anybody, that fan base is like AEW, all elite. Just wait till at some point AEW starts releasing people. It's a business.
They're going to have to.
For whatever reason, there's different reasons that come up. Some people have left the company already.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to do this with Rampage. Are they going to keep Dark and Dark Elevation? Because they're going to have too many people. They have too many people on that roster already to where, it's starting to feel like WWE where not everybody is on the main card and they have to be put on Dark and Dark Elevation. So.
But at least there's those shows that get, that Dark's going to be on at Tuesday at 7 o'clock. That Elvis is going to be on.
And that fan base,
Monday Night Raw. So
they lick their chops for
and they like that.
YouTube
I don't
shows. They tweet about it. It's
what is it like a 2-hour show?
They call the play on Twitter, move by move. That's what that fan base likes. It is what it is. Yeah. Aaron Rift, what? Well, I'm heading over to Aaron Rift here about Andrade. You knew it was going to happen, right? We all did.
Yeah, I was just surprised that he showed up on that particular show. See, I was thinking that they would save him for when AEW goes back on the road. I was surprised that he showed up on that Friday Night Dynamite, which ended up being the least watched Dynamite of all time, and nobody's really surprised about that because it's in a bad time slot. But I thought they would save him I felt like that debut was a bit lackluster. The Vicky Guerrero entrance with no music, the crowd seemed confused, and then once they saw him, they reacted. But yeah, I would have done it a bit differently. And it is a scenario where AEW seems to be signing pretty much any significant name that has been cut from WWE, and their roster is getting very bloated. We've talked about this. We brought this up when Mark Henry showed up, that the roster just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and now AEW is starting to have the same problem as WWE with too many people. And I think WWE, Nick Khan, they finally have decided that they need to change things. They need to change the infrastructure a bit, and they've started cutting people again. They were hoarding talent for the longest time, and at some point, I think that Tony Khan is going to need to cut some people loose because he's got so many wrestlers, and they're starting to oversaturate their own product with all these shows. You got Dynamite, you got Dark Elevation, and now you're going to have Rampage. That's a lot of content, and even the most diehard AEW fan is going to struggle after a while to keep up on all this stuff. I mean, I would like to think that some people have lives outside of wrestling, maybe not, but I would like to think that people at some point, enough is enough. They're going to want to do other things. They're going to be overwhelmed with too much programming. Now, Andrade in AEW is cool. I'm sure he can have some good matches with people and all, but how many more people will they sign? You got a whole new crop of guys. We talked about this last week. You got Braun Strowman as a possibility. You have Buddy Murphy. I mean, Murphy is pretty much a guy that will fit right in with AEW's roster. Right. There's a whole mess of people, Aleister Black and Ruby Riott and so on. Like, I feel like they're going to pick up most, if not all, those people.
The only people that have really left were people for personal reasons or controversial reasons. Really, AEW has not really released anybody.
Virtue, would you think, hindsight being 2020, do you think Tony regrets having Lio Rush be the big debut in the Battle Royal, not Andrade now?
No, I mean, and the thing is, we really didn't make Lio Rush a topic, but he's mad because he's hurt. They all retired. He's coming back. When he's healthy, feeling good again, he'll be back probably in AEW. But you know how wrestlers do that.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I'm just curious because that would have been a moment to have Andrade be in that, and he should have won the damn thing, truth be told. But,
that's true.
So, it would have been a big, like Aaron said, having him be in that horrible time slot Dynamite was in with the Vicky intro, Aaron used the perfect word, lackluster, completely and thoroughly lackluster.
Yeah, and shout out to Mohammed for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody in the chat room for participating. And as you can see, I put up some of the comments on the screen. Keep them coming. Keep your thoughts on the topics as we go through them. We appreciate you tuning in. And if you are enjoying this video, please be sure to give it a like, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and just share a link to the video on Twitter, Facebook, any social media platform that you use. Please spread the word. Anyways, Virtue.
And thank you for watching on my channel as well. We appreciate you guys watching over on the Jeff Beecham Network. So if you like it, give us a.
We're all over the place. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook.
Yes.
A lot of eyeballs. All right, next topic. I like Billy Corgan. I think he got a raw deal in Impact and TNA, trying to own and take over that company, but he was able to get his talons on the remnants of NWA and their likeness. I like the studio wrestling. I like the fact that they can still do pay-per-views, and they're going to start them back up. I think he's a great rock musician, but I think he does have a knack for the wrestling business, more of the old school style that some people like Jeff Meacham really enjoy. Oh, yeah. And Mickie James is now going to have an opportunity to kind of show what she wanted to do in WWE, and that was help produce the women. And she's going to do it at the level of the NWA. Now, with that being said, Jeff, I'm going to come to you first. WWE has a lot of women signed over there between all the things that they have. Oh, yeah. AEW has a lot. There's so many in NWA, and there's still some floating on the indies. They're going to have to get some maybe not big names, but like some really good workers for this. Do they share some of the AEW roster? Is that something Tony Khan allows? Ruby Riott's out there. How is this going to all get put together for this all-female pay-per-view for NWA?
I think the fact that Billy put the championship on Serena, and then Serena worked a lot on AEW programming, tells me that there's going to be a talent exchange for sure as far as the women's pay-per-view, because there are so many women that have gone through the AEW doors in just under 2 years already now that they've been in existence, and Billy and Mickie are going to need those kind of talents, because there are a boatload of independent female wrestlers, but are they all at the talent level that Mickie wants to have on their pay-per-view? That's the thing. And Dwayne, great point by Dwayne there. Where's Tessa Blanchard going to fit in? That she's being at least thought of by Mickie James, because Tessa is a name that, yes, there was controversy in spades about her, not too long ago. So will they bring her in? I would if I was Mickie James, because Tessa's a name talent, and she has the Blanchard name, and she's very, very talented. It's just she made a mistake. We all make mistakes, right? So I would bring her in, but yeah, there are so many unsigned talents out there, and there are a lot of ladies in AEW, and they've also been cross-pollinating with Impact too. So this is one of those things where Virtue and Aaron will be old enough to remember this. I don't know if Big G will, but the whole Pro Wrestling USA thing that Vern Gagne and Crockett tried back in the 80s, this is the type of thing that it could actually work, because there's so many talented people, and unlike Crockett and Vern, who we're going to continue to beat Vince. No, you guys are egotistical idiots. You're going to try to, do your own thing. Billy seems to have his head on straight when it comes to this. And, Tony is much like BG. He's happy to be here and play with his toys. So he's cool. So if they can, sync up, and if Impact management is Scott D'Amore and Don Callis. Don's working directly with AEW right now. So there is a chance where those three companies can have talent on that women's pay-per-view.
Is Don Callis still involved with Impact? Because I've heard some things like he might be drifting away.
He's still technically an EVP. I don't know how far his EVP status goes at this point, but I know he's still got the title at least. But if those three companies can link up and have their talent be showcased on the NWA women's pay-per-view the day before the anniversary show for the entire NWA, dude, money.
So that will be interesting. Big G, what's your thoughts here?
I mean, Jeff knows this. I'm not really a big NWA fan. I really haven't got into it yet. I might start with this August pay-per-view and see how it goes. We've known Impact has done a full women's show. WWE's done their Evolution. Now NWA is doing one. Women's wrestling is a thing now, and the talent that NWA has, from what I've seen, Thunder Rosa, Camille, Serena, Melina, isn't Taryn Terrell there now too, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken?
Taryn's in the NBA now, yes.
Yeah, very, very talented group of women. Mickie James being able to be executive producer for this show, and pretty much sticking it to WWE and saying, well, you guys didn't give me a chance as a producer. Well, I'm going to show you what I can do, and you guys can stick it up where the sun don't shine.
Yeah.
So Tessa Blanchard would be a cool surprise. I could see, Ruby Riott on there, So like Virtue said too, there's so many women in the indies right now that anybody could show up, and it should be one hell of a card. You know what? I'm making a proclamation now. I will be getting that pay-per-view.
Wow. So going from I'm not really into NWA to I'm getting the women's pay-per-view, and WWE has not even attempted a second women's pay-per-view at this point. So
you know why?
This is very
is not there.
This is very ballsy, and I get why Billy Corgan's doing it, because he's using Mickie James as the face with everything that happened with her and leaving WWE. Aaron Rift, what's your thoughts on this?
I think they're going to need a lot of talent to really make this work. I think that if they pool in all the resources, if they get women from AEW, maybe a few women from Japan, a few women from Ring of Honor, a few of the WWE cuts. I saw the Iconics mentioned by Colin Andrew, maybe Ruby Riott, maybe Tessa Blanchard, as Jeff mentioned. I think they could pull off a really strong show. But yeah, it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of people coming in, I think, to make this work. WWE with Evolution, they had a huge talent pool at their disposal. NWA, they got a few talented women there. Obviously, Camille is the champion now. You still got Thunder Rosa, who can be part of it. You got Serena Deeb, who can be part of it. And again, if they get all the women together, I think they could make a super card, and they could make this a big success. Mr. Tito sent in a $5 super chat. No DQ columnist, Mr. Tito, thank you for that. Says, I bet that all of the NWA pay-per-view participants could take Shayna Baszler.
We're trying to incite Big G early. Got it. Okay, thanks, guys.
Well, I think Big G has kind of just lost interest in Shayna Baszler because of the booking of WWE.
So, right? Now, Big G, would you love to see Shayna Baszler not in WWE right now and be part of this NWA?
Yes. Because if you look on my Twitter, I didn't do a top 5, I did a top 6. And Shayna Baszler is at number 6 right now.
There you go.
I think Tessa Blanchard's a must for this.
Has to be.
Controversy or all of the whole kit and caboodle. That's what wrestling's always about. Eric Bischoff says it. It creates cash and money flow, and she was beating men last time we saw her before the pandemic, and now she should come and dominate a women's pay-per-view. But we'll see what happens with that. Any last thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, Virtue. Aaron mentioned that Camille was a champion. Let's not forget what's going on here. Camille is the champion. She's been the second of the champion, Nick Aldis, who's married to Mickie James. So Camille's going to get a major showcase on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so I hope Mickie, just besides producing it, I hope she's involved with it in the show too.
Works. Oh my God!
Yeah,
seriously,
she should.
She has to.
Oh, who's on the line there? All right. Well, let's move on. And speaking of women. This is a tribute to Caitlyn. This was always a rumor, but it came out of the horse's mouths. And I say that sarcastically. But the Bellas talk about making a comeback. Now, yes, they're both mothers, so this has to be strategically planned. But we talked about ever since they got those tag titles in WWE that, hey, I could see, we could see them coming back and having a run as the twin tag team champions and maybe through to a WrestleMania, and then they can go off into the sunset. What's the validity of this, Aaron? I'm going to come over to you first. Is this just another internet thing, or is this something you could see happening?
Oh, I think it's going to happen for sure, and there's going to be some unhappy fans. But as Batista once said, the great David Batista, deal with it. The Bella Twins are probably coming back. They're going to go for the tag team titles, and I just wish that we had more tag teams in WWE's women's division. The division is so weak right now, and it would have been nice if the Iconics were around. The Bellas versus the Iconics would have been a cool match. Like, what do you have at this point as far as tag teams go? You got Natalya and Tamina, but do we really want to see the Bellas versus Tamina and Natalya? Like, they need to build up a really dominant women's tag team for the Bellas to face. And give us a really good dream match if you're going to bring the Bellas back. Otherwise, why even bother? Like, you got to have this division boosted up if you're going to bring the Bellas back and get them in the mix again. Because if the titles don't mean anything, then it doesn't really serve much of a purpose if you're going to bring the Bellas back. The Bellas got to have some good opponents and a good reason to go for the tag team titles, not just, the tag team titles are here, but rather there's a really world-class tag team here that we want to beat to win those titles. So, yeah, if it's done right, I have no problem with it. The question is, will the Bellas show up and just face some random makeshift team that WWE created without much thought process?
That's a good point. Now, Big G, imagine these twins that are both mothers now coming back and winning gold together. I mean, that's such WWE loves to write their own history. I mean, you tell me, and Jeff, you can chime in on this too, that's not meant to be, because it is. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course.
Big G?
So, yeah, like Aaron said, I can only think of 2 teams right now in the division, Natty and Tamina, Dana Brooke, and Mandy Rose, because it looks like they're splitting up Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax finally. But, you have no tag teams in this women's division. I think it's kind of stupid now that NXT has their own tag titles. They should just get rid of the NXT tag titles and, use whatever teams they have left to build some kind of division. And if the Bellas come back, they need strong opponents. and they need to have a lengthy reign with them. And I'm assuming, Money in the Bank is coming back in July, and they'll be back on the road again. So I'm thinking maybe SummerSlam, have the Bellas compete for the tag titles against, God forbid, I don't freaking know, put Bayley and Sasha back together. I don't know, do something like that. Because who else do you have? Put Charlotte and Asuka back together.
Well, Big G, I was always thinking, like, why not bring back Trish Stratus and Lita as a tag team and have them versus the Bellas?
That's what I thought, but you figured you would figure they would have done that at the beginning when they introduced the tag titles when Bayley and Sasha were in their first reign. But maybe Trish and Lita, they had stuff going on, but I mean, they could still do that. I'd be happy with that, but at this point, what women's tag division do you have?
Yeah.
You legit only have 2 tag teams. WWE, you need to get your head out of your ass and focus on your tag team divisions, men and women's.
Well said, Big G. We do have a $2 or actually a $3 super chat from Walter Cruz. Thank you for that. He says, it's happening. That's why Daniel Bryan took time off. I don't think Bryan took off for the Bellas to come back. I think Bryan took off because his deal was up and he wants to spend some time with his extended family. But yeah, I think the Bellas, they've been itching to come back, and now that they've both given birth, it's going to be a scenario where you want to pull the trigger on it sooner than later, because as the kids get older, they're going to want to spend time with their kids. And with fans coming back, it's a good opportunity for the Bellas. They've been away for a while, and there'll be fresh faces when they come back. With fans, it'll get that big reaction. And
didn't they get booed at WrestleMania?
Well, Hulk Hogan got booed at WrestleMania.
Who?
Ooh, Jeff Meacham. What do you think about that?
Whatever. I don't care anymore. So first of all, we clearly established that this is the one show we can't show Caitlin as far as the comments go that are on the screen. So we'll do that right now. So let's go there. Not a bad suggestion there, Blair.
Jeff, this is going to happen though when they win the titles.
Oh my God!
They'll have like the family holding the kids in the front row, so they're sitting there watching them. It's the WWE.
It's going to be like when it's going to be like any other thing like that. They're going to have the family in the front row, and they're going to go out there and celebrate. It's going to be a thing. And if it's at SummerSlam, it means I got to sit through and watch it. Yay me! But can you imagine if they had done this, Aaron, a decade ago when Laycool was there, when the Bellas were actually competing regularly, when you had a lot of different groups of women that were all together there. That man, they could have done so much better things with that. And then Trish and Lita were still 10 years younger, so they were still popping in here and there, so they could have been a tag team championship team there too. It's just so ridiculous it took them this long to get the championships established, and they had a good thing going for a year, maybe a little bit more, and now they split up the Iconics and they put them in other teams because that made sense. And then Peyton Royce's second partner got pregnant, so she's off the air now. So it's like, okay, so let's just go ahead and screw Peyton all together. Just cut her loose, whatever. So they've really completely hacked apart their tag team division, as Big G said, on both sides of the gender line here. Let's not kid ourselves, because the men's tag team division is a freaking joke too. It's terrible. And granted, I know the Mysterios finally beat the Rude and Ziggler, and that's great, but okay, now what? Same with the Raw division. Okay, AJ and Omos. I'm waiting for the moment where the comedic stuff with AJ just goes too far and ruins Omos before he even gets started in his own career. It's going to happen. Yeah, the Bella's coming back. And by the way, I don't know if anybody's pointed this out to Aaron like I did on social media today, but man, you couldn't have picked the worst picture to put the Bellas for that thing, man. Nikki had like a Joker smile. It was hysterical.
It's a troll face. She's trolling. She's trolling the fans. Now, we do have a super chat from Walter Cruz, $5. Thank you for that, Walter. I appreciate it. It says, oh, great. When they come back, everyone going to make Aaron sing Brie mode. So cringy. I don't like the idea of them returning, though, but I understand. As long as they're a tag team, they should be using You Can Look But You Can't Touch, which means I'm okay. We don't have to hear Brie mode. As long as we don't have to hear Brie mode, I'm
and
okay
no dives through the ropes either.
Right.
Let's stick to their basic in-ring stuff that they've always done.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with them coming back or even winning the championships because, they were the ones advocating for that for their entire time in the WWE as full-time roster members. So I'm fine with it. And I'm even fine with it happening at SummerSlam, or if they defend at SummerSlam, cool. That's, that'll bring eyes to the product, the casual old school fans.
Is Total Bella still a thing?
I think they just finished the most recent season not too long ago.
So this could be a whole new set of shows for that because they'll come back tour, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but WWE likes to do WWE things, and that's bring back the old talent, and it is what it is, and we will see if and when it happens. Okay, now before we get to the main event, which is basically tied around SummerSlam,
yes,
we are going to have, before SummerSlam, Aaron, what's the next pay-per-view for WWE? Correct me here. Is it Hell in a Cell?
It is, in fact, the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which will be the last Thunderdome WWE pay-per-view.
And so, we got Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion, and we just have to have him beat people at this point, and it's going to be most likely a potential match versus Rey Mysterio. So what's your thoughts there as a filler for Reigns? Because we know this kind of stuff happens. We don't know what's going to happen with this whole Jimmy thing going forward. But Big G,
Yes.
People kind of get upset when they know who's going to win. Can this be captivating at all with Rey if this happens?
It should be. I mean, Rey Mysterio, he's still very, very talented in the ring. I'm sure. I want to say we've seen Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio a couple of times when Reigns was with the Shield, and I believe Roman Reigns eliminated Rey Mysterio at a Survivor Series. I want to say 2014.
Sounds
when
right.
Roman Reigns eliminated everybody on. I think when Roman Reigns eliminated pretty much everybody. But we all know it's filler, and I'm sure they're going to announce the match tomorrow night on SmackDown, because we had Roman Reigns last week pretty much beat the holy hell out of Dominic and Rey Rey's going to want some payback for his son. You mess with my son, I'm going to come after you, but it should be one hell of a match, and we all know Roman Reigns is winning. So,
all right, and that's pretty self-explanatory there. Now, Jeff, this isn't going to be one of those because somebody like Bruce Pritchard or somebody, hey, let's put this together so Dominic can acknowledge Roman and go join that. This isn't going to be one of those, is it? Because it's just weird that this was just thrown together and Rey, or maybe Rey's just the only household name right now that they feel because he's a past champion. What do you think, Jeff?
I definitely feel like it's thrown together. I really just you said it when you started the segment. They're trying to throw people at Roman to mow down before they get the real main event SummerSlam program going, which it's pretty much a lock what it's going to be at this point. But again, things can change in a heartbeat. But to kind of throw Rey to the wolves, I'm okay with it. That's not that I just dislike Rey or whatever. It's just he needs a main event level opponent, and even in 2021, Rey Mysterio is a main event talent. He's been a main event personality for a long time, and now he's got his son there with him. So Roman beating the hell out of Dominic motivates Rey to avenge his son, and if he gets a title shot in the process, that's cool too. He's not going to win the championship, obviously, but there's always that moment that WWE tries to make you think maybe, just maybe, this will happen. It's not going to. And if that comment is correct, and this is the first time they face each other one-on-one, that's a pretty cool stat. And if it happens, at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, whether it's inside the cell or not, it's still a cool thing to have, your current guy, the guy you've been, shoving down our throats for 5 years. Now we're actually embracing in Roman Reigns against one of the all-time fan favorites in Rey Mysterio. So it's a marquee matchup.
Jeff, can you see something similar happen? Remember Rey and Dominic? Something happened with Lesnar. Remember how the tease early in that match?
Yep.
Like they had. Is this going to be something that might happen, and then all of a sudden Reigns still overcomes it? I mean, I know the cage, the Hell in a Cell is going to be involved. You would think.
Well, and that's the thing. We don't know if they're going to put these two in the cell or not because, number one, you're going to have at least you're probably going to have the Raw Championship inside Hell in a Cell because Drew and Bobby have been beefing all year, so that's going to be inside the cell.
Well, they confirmed that.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch Raw because I didn't want to. After all hearing other guys' reviews, I didn't want to watch Raw. Are you kidding me? But I would think that there's got to be at least one more cell match, and I don't think any of the women's feuds are really strong enough to go in there. So I don't know if you'd put Rey and Roman in there. Then I don't know. But in any event, Roman Reigns, Rey Mysterio, it's two marquee names in WWE history. That's a main event match for the SmackDown brand on this pay-per-view. Yep.
All right, Aaron, over to you, and there might have been a super chat.
Yeah, we have a few here. I'll get to those, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. No problem. James sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, James. He says, Reigns should pull a Hector Salamanca and drown Jay in front of Jimmy to make him respect his family. Turn Usos stone-faced like the Salamanca twins.
Jesus Christ. He's coming out of the freaking universe. I don't even know what he's talking about. Jeez.
Well, I know what he's talking about. There's a scene with well, I'm not going to get into that. It's going off topic here. But there's a really good scene with the twins.
It's a meta moment.
And Hector Salamanca, a little flashback sequence on Breaking Bad. Great show.
Breaking Bad, but that's why I don't know, obviously.
Well, you should get on it, Jeff.
It's on my list you and JJ gave me to get done this year, so don't worry. I'll figure it out.
All right. Anyways, you could cut back on wrestling a little bit and watch some Breaking Bad. It might be good for your sanity.
Really
I'm just saying.
I've been doing good. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I got another super chat here from Dwayne Atkinson. He sent in $5. He says, they should make it a handicap match to make Roman look even stronger. Well, the problem with that is it kind of weakens the tag titles.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't make Roman look strong. That makes Mysterios and the tag titles look weak as hell. Because Roman can beat these two guys up. It's a given. He's going to beat little Mysterio, and Dominic's bigger, but it's still a freaking kid pretty much, dude. Roman can take both those guys with one hand. So, no.
I mean, it would be... So, first of all, I think that this feels like it was thrown together. It feels like they just did this out of nowhere. Filler pay-per-view, Money in the Bank is going to be the first show with fans. And right now, we're pretty much in a lame duck period in WWE until we get to Money in the Bank. It is what it is. It feels like Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio is going to be the opening match of Hell in a Cell. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre inside the cell will likely close the pay-per-view. And Roman Reigns himself even said that he's either the main event or he's the opening match. He's either starting the show or he's finishing it. And looks like Reigns and Mysterio is one of those types of matches that will open the pay-per-view. And I'm sure they'll have a good match, and it is something different. If it is true, it's going to be the first singles match between Reigns and Mysterio. I think it is. I do not remember them ever having a singles match. Hell, I don't even remember them wrestling when the Shield was around, but they probably did at some point. Just so long ago, I don't remember. But I think that it should be a good match, and they'll probably make it a good storyline. For me personally, I really wanted to see a match with Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns, and maybe they're going to save that for Money in the Bank. Maybe that's why we're getting this match now, because they wanted to wait until the next pay-per-view with the fans to do Reigns versus Jimmy. I get that if that's what they're going for. I just hope we do get Reigns versus Jimmy before SummerSlam. I really want to see that match and then see Jimmy fall in line with the Tribal Chief, and they can do all that stuff. But as far as the filler match goes, Reigns and Mysterio, fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's for Reigns to get more highlights against another legend, and that's exactly what this is going to be. And I would not be surprised if Dominic still gets into that cell. If they're in the cell, or if it's not, he comes out, and even if he's not official in the match, I could see Reigns do his little stack job on both of them, even if Dominic is just coming out there to fend off Jay or something like that. So this is strictly highlight material for Roman Reigns at this point. And I'm okay with that, because later on this year, we're going to have the fans come back. And by the time we get to SummerSlam in Las Vegas, and what's the stadium called? Allegiant?
Legion
Stadium where the Raiders play.
Yes, sir.
We're going to have the biggest SummerSlam crowd of all time. Is it Wembley Stadium right now?
Wembley's 87,000. Legion's only 65.
Oh, okay.
Well.
I didn't know Wembley was
for
that
football. Big. It's for football, so they'll probably have enough on the floor to maybe match Wembley or get close.
But nonetheless, this is getting towards WrestleMania level. And so what are the main events going to be? Are we going to see returns of Becky Lynch, John Cena, Brock Lesnar? The rumor, I believe, Aaron Rift, John Cena versus Roman Reigns. So we're going to go around the horn. I'll come back to you, Aaron. Big G, the main event, SummerSlam, is going to be huge. Fans, Las Vegas, Roman Reigns. Will John Cena acknowledge him? What do you think is going to happen? What are the big gets for WWE for this event? The draw. Who are the drawing power?
Well, I could see John Cena versus Roman Reigns. That would be one hell of a match. You know, Cena putting over Reigns, and you know, Cena.
And we know the No Mercy thing happened, but
yeah,
it wasn't just it was weird timing. It wasn't a big event like this, like it should have been.
I mean,
so yes, it needs to happen again.
If you go on YouTube, I think they have the whole video of the promo that Cena and Roman Reigns cut, and you know, that was one hell of a promo. The match was all right for what it was. Like you said, wrong place, wrong time. But SummerSlam 2021, Las Vegas, fans are back. You know, things are lifting up between the state, Canada and the U.S. now. And I think Cena is pretty much done filming the Peacemaker for HBO Max and whatnot, so he can come back, get into shape.
You're saying he's not in shape? You mean the cardio for wrestling?
Get back into wrestling shape, I should say.
Cardio, gotcha.
Yeah. The other two matches I can think of, Lashley versus Lesnar, if Lesnar is willing to come back, and I'm sure Vince is going to throw all his money at him and say, you know what, we need you back. Everybody's wants to see you versus Lashley for the WWE title. And the other match I want to really see, it's got some history, Seth Rollins versus Edge. That would be one hell of a match. You know, like I said, they have history. I think Edge or Rollins had curb stomped Edge on a Talking Edge a couple years back. So they got some history there. And so, yeah, those three matches, I think, will be the three big headlines at SummerSlam this year.
Was it Talking Edge or Cutting Edge? What was
Cutting
that
Edge, thank you.
Cutting Edge.
That's what I thought.
I don't know why I said Talking Edge, but
Talking Smack is in your brain.
Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, and I know there's a super chat, so I'm going to come over to you now.
All right, TJS sent in a $3 super chat. Thank you, TJS. He says, AJ or Seth Rollins versus Edge, Lashley versus Lesnar, and Cena versus Reigns. Cena versus Reigns seems like the obvious main event for the show. One of the biggest matches you can do with Roman Reigns. The other big ones, of course, a match with Brock Lesnar, and that might be saved for a later pay-per-view. And then WrestleMania either next year, and I really think they should try to do next year and not drag it out too long. But The Rock versus Roman Reigns, I think, is the biggest match that WWE can do at this point. And, of course, we've all been talking about Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Lesnar at SummerSlam doesn't seem like it's a go at this point. There's conflicting reports. He might not be there, but if I'm Vince, I absolutely 100% want Brock Lesnar there. Brock Lesnar should be coming back for SummerSlam. And you look at the title situation on Raw, who do you really have besides Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley? Who else do you have for either of those guys besides Brock Lesnar? Like, I don't see any guy on Raw that can really step in and be the next challenger at a pay-per-view the magnitude of SummerSlam. I mean, what are we going to get? Triple H versus Lashley, as TJS points out? Like, really? I mean, I guess they could do that, but I feel like you need a top-tier guy to go against the champion. And Brock Lesnar, to me, that's a no-brainer because people have been wanting to see Lesnar versus Lashley. And if McIntyre wins back the title for some reason, you can always do that storyline where Lesnar's coming back for his rematch from WrestleMania 36, we never got Lesnar versus McIntyre with an audience. We did not get that, and they could do that rematch. So I think you got to bring back Brock, because who else do you have? Like, serious question. Who else do you have to face?
Well, I was thinking the same thing as TJS with Keith Lee, but if they didn't have him off TV and booked him properly, I could have seen Keith Lee versus Lashley.
All that money they're freeing up by all those releases, they have big plans for SummerSlam, and I don't think it's just John Cena. And Brock Lesnar's the other guy that's going to demand a lot of money, probably the most. So they both should be there, in my opinion. And maybe the conflicting reports with Brock is just red herring stuff, because Brock usually shows up when you don't expect him. And now I'm getting that gut feeling like he could. And you know what? Becky too, because even if she still wants to be mom, she can come back and do a match at SummerSlam, put someone over, and go back on hiatus for a little bit, right?
I definitely think Becky's coming back. I would be shocked if she doesn't return for SummerSlam to do a match with either.
This is a big deal.
Charlotte Flair.
This is going to be a big deal, this SummerSlam.
You remember we thought last year SummerSlam was going to be on a boat? And now
we know this one's going to be.
And now we're back.
Not go anywhere, but that would have been cool. I'm shocked they did not do that, because it would have been something fun. Anyways, Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dwayne. He says, if SummerSlam is going to be this year's WrestleMania, then will Raw after SummerSlam be huge like Raw after Mania?
Should be.
Well, actually, the Raw after Mania, I think, is going to be. I'm not even sure where it's scheduled at this point. I think it might be Colorado, but I'm not sure. I know they're doing a super show the night after. Oh, Jeff's got to have his dinner now.
Oh, shush, I'm fine. Go ahead.
What are those, burritos?
Yes.
Yum.
All right, I'll eat after. It's fine. I'm
All right, we got to wrap this up, guys. Jeff's hungry.
No, we don't. Shut up. Okay,
Jeff, I'm coming over to you here.
Okay,
this is a big deal.
Yeah,
SummerSlam. I mean, to have SummerSlam in a big stadium like this after the pandemic with these fans. Yes, sir.
Real quick, Michael Wayne said it's actually San Diego. So I think the Super Show is in Colorado. They're doing the Raw after SummerSlam 2 nights later in San Diego. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think people are going to travel to San Diego from Las Vegas 2 days later. You might, Jeff, but
because
I don't think it's going to have that. I don't think it's going to have that Raw after Mania crowd.
No, I mean, I'll be back in town at night because don't have school the next day. So, but the thing is, San Diego, Aaron, you lived here. San Diego's freaking far from here, so it's 2.5 hours down the freeway. So we probably won't go to that, but maybe. But I will be at SummerSlam. I'm looking. Hopefully, if ticket prices aren't so freaking sky high.
Oh, real quick, Jeff, before you give the rest of your thoughts, we do have a few more super chats here. TGS has an interesting one. He sent in a $3 super chat, says, missed opportunity to have Braun Strowman destroy the Thunderdome.
100% agree. That would have been a tremendous visual on TV.
Like, because we've seen him destroy all the stuff. And by the way, am I the only one that thinks Strowman's going to come back to WWE? Like, I think...
Aaron, I feel that too. Less money. Too. They'll talk him into less money, and he'll be happy. That's yeah.
I mean, they might cut his salary to like $750,000 instead of $1.2 million. Yeah, that's a big cut. I mean, that's very significant. But hell, $750,000 a year is still a lot of money, and Strowman could always work his way back up to that money if he gets pushed or whatever. And Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. He says, build Jeff Hardy now. Give him some big program that will use no more words at SummerSlam. Then you have a reason to change his theme. Wishful thinking.
I like it, though. I like the wishful thinking. That's cool because Jeff said, when the fans come back, we'll get the theme song back. So why not?
I mean, I guess they could always go with Jeff Hardy versus the champ, but I think you gotta get the ball rolling with Jeff pretty soon here and start pushing him.
Well, that's what he said. Start it now. So start Monday night.
And there was a comment from Sean about which NXT call-ups do you see happening? I mean, could they call up Karrion Kross and put him in there with Lashley or McIntyre at SummerSlam? Do you think? I mean, I think he might need more time to be established.
It really depends what happens Sunday night, brother. Honestly,
Jeff, are we going to see Goldberg
Oh yeah.
I had to say it. And
Um,
not Gold, like Goldberg probably needs. You know how he came back and he beat Ziggler in a squash match? That was at a SummerSlam. When was that, Aaron?
Yes. Yeah, that was
whatever that was. Royal Rumble. Could we
yeah.
get at least something like that? Goldberg's there, beats somebody
Right.
in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that comment that Braun Strowman and Aleister Black will be back. I don't know if they're going to be back in time for SummerSlam, but they'll be back, eventually. As far as SummerSlam, like I said, if I do get to go, I'm so ecstatic. If they do bring Goldberg in, he still has 2 matches left on that contract he signed, so maybe they put him in the Lashley match. I mean, I hate to think that way, but why not? And I'm not saying him beat Lashley because God, that would make me just barf. But the money match that we've all been talking about is definitely Roman Reigns and John Cena. We like Aaron said, we saw that match out here in LA at No Mercy a few years back, and it felt very misplaced, like wrong place, wrong time, like Big G said. They need that. We are the marquee match. We are the championship match. We are the last match to go on tonight. And as dominant as Roman has been, and I'm not going to change it, even though my dog disagrees with me right now. I'm just going to say that do not be surprised if John gets the win there, because that would be a complete curveball that nobody would expect, and it would make the entire internet community just shit their pants. And
definitely not going to happen. They're not going to derail Roman's run. They're going to tease like this could be the new record, and
right.
The false finishes are going to be hot.
Oh yeah,
Roman will. I see what you're saying, but I will never bet on Roman in that situation ever, especially
right.
now. Nope.
No. Like I said, I agree that they won't do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I'd be really surprised because that would just crush Roman. But anyway. That's it. We got through this show, and you know what time it is. Maybe we'll get through this all right, and we'll be done here in a couple minutes. But we're going to go around the horn and do your plugs, and when it gets back to Aaron, maybe we can close this under 1 hour this evening. So, Jeff, I will start with you.
JeffMeachemNetwork.com. We've got a couple of cool shows coming up. We've got 2 watch-alongs the next 2 Sundays, In Your House and Hell in a Cell, and tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern, JJ and I will be doing our Dads Not Always on Wrestling, covering Steve Austin's greatest matches. And then 2 weeks from tomorrow, we'll be covering the top 10 live action films distributed by the bigger Walt Disney Studios umbrella. So like we're talking about like Miramax and Hollywood Pictures and Touchstone. Like we'll be covering that library of movies 2 weeks from tomorrow on Dads. That's it for me.
Aaron, there's some big super chats. So hurry up, do your plugs, Big G.
NoDQ.com/BigBallerG takes you to my Twitter page. Follow me on TikTok at BigBallerG1988. Make that happen, Aaron. Make that happen.
He's just happy to be here. I know Aaron's happy to be here because you have some super chats, Aaron.
Well, Nick Glavin sent in a very generous $140 Canadian,
Whoa!
but that's still very significant. So big thank you to Nick Glavin. I really do appreciate it.
I wonder if he fat fingered it. I'm just kidding.
Remember that one time?
Yes, I was just gonna say
like $300 or something by mistake.
And I was dude, we were so jazzed. It was like, oh no. So hopefully,
yeah.
But anyways, as you were, yeah.
I appreciate it, Nick, especially if it was legitimate and not a misclick.
I actually have a super chat on my channel, Aaron, real quick. If I can throw it up there real quick, you guys won't see it on your end, but Alex James, the $2 super chat. Thoughts on Survivor Series 2006? I'm about to watch. Not a bad show. You'll be entertained for that couple hours. I liked it.
It's roughly $115 US.
Nice.
Thank you for that, Big G. I very much appreciate it, Nick. We're gonna give your super chat extra attention.
Yes.
So he says, my family has sold grandparents' house, so I did come into some cash. Split this among the 4 of you. So the four of us will split this. Jeff is happy.
I'm happy. I got money. That's right.
Go out to Outback Steakhouse, get some.
Well, let's see.
some steak.
110 divided by 4. Maybe by myself.
Well, he's got to take the YouTube fees and the conversion rate. Aaron will figure it all out.
So,
yeah, I'll figure that all out. But
so figure 25 roughly.
Let's see. He says, my question, Why does WWE only recognize 16 world titles? He has 24
Jeff.
on Wikipedia. Is this Ric
Jesus.
Flair? This is Ric Flair,
This
right?
is Flair. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeff is the expert on this, so we're going to throw it over to Jeff here.
Okay. I forget how far back it is. I'll try to go on the page and reshare it tonight. Over my work page, Facebook page at facebook.com/Jeff Meacham Network. I compiled a video of every single one of his championship wins. Now, the reason they do only 16 is very simple. There's a couple that don't get recognized as separate from NWA and WCW. Like when he beat Sting in January of 91, WWE counts that as one, even though that's also the start of the WCW championship. I don't know why, but they only count it as one reign. They also don't recognize the thing in Japan with Fujinami later that year before he left WCW. Like they don't count that as a title loss. I don't know why, but they don't. Him and Harley traded the title in '84 out in the over in Asia, and that got recognized briefly by WCW, but WWE doesn't recognize those. So there's a lot there that kind of get like fudged over, like when he unifies titles, like they don't count that. Like when he and Sting met at the Clash in '94 before he met Hogan, they don't count that as another championship win. They just unified the titles. Like he won that stupid international heavyweight thing that it was the gold belt. So, and it was a fraud, Tito. You're absolutely right. But you know what? They had to do something because the NWA and WCW were completely falling apart and they still had the big gold belt. So they couldn't not recognize Rick Rude because Rick Rude was too damn hot as a heel and not be champion. They had to do something. So that's why there's a lot of unifications and they don't count it as two. And so I will repost as soon as we get off the air here. I will go back on my work Facebook and I will share that across my social medias and you can see where that breaks down. The actual number I came up with was 21, I think, maybe 22.
Thank you for that, Jeff. We appreciate your insight on that. Jeff definitely knows his title.
That's why that's why those three belts are back there because it's the Flair's belts. There you go. So.
Especially when it comes to arguably the GOAT, the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Well, and by the way, I appreciate that comment earlier calling me the GOAT of NoDQ before Aaron started doing his own, he said that Aaron started doing more a week. It's like, no, Jeff left because we got into a stupid little cruddy fight and Aaron, to his credit, stepped up and has done an amazing job.
Thank you.
Doing his own thing. I love it. So
here they come.
They're coming. Big G's like, oh, me. He's like,
you know what? I'm in a good mood tonight, so bring it on.
Oh shit!
All right. Well, maybe some of these super chats will be so far back in history that Big G really can't provide any insight into it. So we're just gonna have to bypass him. Jeff's like, you know what? I'm gonna start eating now. It's on. Welcome everyone to NoDQ After Dark. That's what we call the segment here when we're going into.
Aaron, please read TJS's chat right now.
Oh, TJS's right now? Okay. TJS sent in a $3 super chat. He says, was Stone Cold Steve Austin overrated in the ring, punches and kicks only? Well, Steve Austin kind of got dumped on his neck. And there was a reason he had to adapt his style.
And TJS, at that point, when you're over with your mouth and your look and your entrance music, it doesn't matter what you do in the matches. So he could have been punches and kicks that whole time. It didn't matter. Stone Cold was the hottest thing in wrestling. And because he was so hot, The Rock got so hot. Who cares what he did in the ring during his matches? The stunner was what it was all about.
Stone Cold, as Stone Cold, the character, maybe. But go back prior to getting dumped on his head, like Aaron said, man.
93?
Stunning Steve Austin was one of the greatest workers WCW had, and Bischoff let him get away. So stupid, right, Aaron? Like Stunning Steve Austin was one of the greatest wrestlers.
So wasn't Pillman, and he got in the car accident.
Yeah. If Steve and Brian don't get in their respective accidents, they could have been such technical masterpieces throughout their whole rest of their career.
Yeah. I mean, Steve Austin's character, the Stone Cold character, was a brawler. Like, you didn't want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin doing a lot of technical wrestling moves and
good point.
And whatnot. That wasn't
all I got to say is TJS, what?
What? All right. Mr. Tito sent in a $5 super chat. We'll see if somebody can send a comment so outrageous that maybe Jeff chokes on his food here. We don't want that to happen, but you know what, Jeff? If you're going to die on camera.
Who's going to give him the Heimlich?
He's got to give himself the Heimlich.
Virtual Heimlich.
They're too far away. I'll be dead by the time they get back here.
All right. Mr. Tito said with $5, thank you, Tito, says, how awesome was Miss Elizabeth's reveal at SummerSlam 1988? See, Jeff doesn't need to turn on his camera for this. You could just see by the body language that he agrees that it was quite awesome.
Good stuff.
Big G, I think that was before your time, but maybe you saw it.
Okay, what am I missing here?
Miss Elizabeth, SummerSlam 90.
Okay, I know who
88.
I know who Miss Elizabeth is, but what was this reveal?
Okay. Clearly, Big G has never watched the first SummerSlam. So, Big G, homework assignment is to go on the WWE Network on Peacock and watch the first SummerSlam main event, the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks. One of the best storylines in wrestling history. The Mega Powers getting together and then the Mega Powers breaking up. You got to go watch that match and watch.
This is your homework from the West Coast professor, G. By next week, we want a full analysis of that whole thing.
Okay, I got you.
We're going to hold you to it for next week.
Damn right we will.
All right. Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat, says, rank the pandemic pay-per-views from worst to best. Oh, boy.
Next.
Well, no, we got to do it. He sent in the super chat.
All right, I'm going to go with the best. I don't know. Shit.
WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Backlash, I thought, were pretty solid. I mean, most of the WWE pay-per-views were pretty good, with a few exceptions. Royal Rumble was great, too. The worst one I can think of is probably the one where Mysterio got his eye gouged out.
Oh, Extreme Rules Horror Show.
Yeah, with the Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman swamp fight. Yeah, that one was pretty weak.
Yeah,
and the ones without the fans, they're hard to watch. So those would probably be the bottom ones.
WrestleMania Backlash surprised me. Like it looked good on paper, but that's usually not been mean it would translate to a great show. It was actually I was happy to call that show. I enjoyed watching that show. I didn't like Money in the Bank at the Tower. Maybe that was me. I wasn't a fan of that show.
Yeah, that one was not great.
It was unique in its own way, but it wasn't the best.
It was overly hokey for hokey's sake. That was the problem. I mean, they had guys getting thrown off the tower. They hit the next level, guys.
Caitlin has spoken in the chat.
What did she say?
Oh.
You should just say no more super chats after this point will be read. So you guys must have some programs to watch on TV or something.
Got to watch some more King of Queens. We're
big
on right now.
We're getting inundated now.
Oh boy.
All right. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat, says, how about them Lakers, Jeff?
You are attacking the wrong person. I can't stand basketball, period. So you're attacking the wrong guy, Tito. I give a shit about the Lakers.
Wait, is that a Lakers hat you're wearing?
It's a Kings hat.
Oh.
Yeah, they have the same colors.
We had the colors before the Lakers did.
All right, then. Fair
Jeff
enough.
knows his hockey. That's
great.
Damn cool.
Although the Kings aren't playing right now because they're out too, because they suck too. So.
If you guys want to trigger Jeff, you got to take a shot at the Kings. Just giving you a tip.
Let's open that Pandora's box on After Dark. Let's do that. There you go. Good idea.
All right.
Boy.
Now, Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $4 super chat. Says, this is a great super chat. Is Jeff's burritos more over than Ricochet now?
Home cooking in general is more over than Ricochet. Yes, definitely.
I would say the worst burritos in the world, like the worst Del Taco burritos, are more over than Ricochet.
Ooh.
Del Taco? I mean, Del Taco is pretty good. Taco Bells are bad.
Oh, well, I guess you would know, Jeff. I'm not the biggest Mexican food person, so I'll take your word for it.
I try not.
Burger King has a great breakfast burrito called the Egg Normus burrito right now. It's phenomenal.
There you go.
All right, let's get to the next one. Dwayne Atkinson. This is No DQ After Dark. This is basically the second hour of the No DQ review. It's No DQ After Dark.
So much for under an hour.
We're going to have to make No DQ After Dark t-shirts. I think I got a new idea. Plus, we got to get that Big G t-shirt on the No DQ store.
Have to.
All right. Dwayne Atkinson with a $5 super chat says, okay, I guess this is trivia for Big G. We haven't done this in a while. Big G, who called Sherry Martel Scary Sherry? Okay, if Big G misses this, we'll throw it over to Virtue and then Jeff.
Oh. 10 seconds.
Booker T.
Oh.
All right, Virtue.
God, I can't remember. Dusty Rhodes. I don't remember.
No. All right, Jeff.
In the words of another podcast host, Brutus the Effin' Barber Beefcake.
Brudai.
Brother Brudai.
I thought it was Piper that said Scary Sherry.
It was originally Brutus on the Brother Love Show.
All right, well there you go, Jeff. I'm going to take your word for it as a wrestling trivia challenge champion. I think you're probably going to have a better idea than the rest of us.
Well, right. Considering it's a question about one of the podcasts I listen to, and the fact that they talk about all the time, it's the only reason I know that. So, to be fair, inside track.
TJS sent in a $5 super chat. Says, "Won't you want me to make you? I'm coming down fast, but don't let me break you. Tell me the answer. You may be a lover, but you ain't no dancer." What song is that, Big G?
From the Beatles? That's all I can think of.
Wow! I'm impressed
trying to
with
think.
that alone.
Give him the credit, man. He knew it was the Beatles. I'm all right with that.
If you can guess the song, then you have earned my respect.
It's got to be a big song. Oh,
it is a big song. It's a pretty big song. I'll give you a hint. What's the opposite of black?
Red, white.
What? Red?
That's some Wolfpack shit. What the hell?
Opposite of black is white.
Here.
All right, opposite of black is white. My head was thinking.
BigG.exe has stopped working.
Big G is so into this wedding planning. His brain just short-circuited on that question. You know what the hell's going on. That was tremendous.
I was seeing your banner, and I'm like,
Aaron's getting yelled at. Caitlin's telling him to stop yelling in the chat.
Oh.
All right.
What else?
Opposite of black is white.
Right.
I don't know. Wait, I don't know. Okay, I really don't know.
Okay.
I know it's the Beatles.
All right, Virtue, do you know? You like the Beatles somewhat. They're not Bob Dylan to you, but I know you like them.
No, yeah, I tune out the Beatles.
Is it White Cherry Lane? I don't know. Is that a song?
Right,
I don't know the answer.
Skelter, the song that allegedly influenced Charles Manson to do all those horrible things.
Helter Skelter. Okay.
That they even wrote a book about it, Helter Skelter. Yeah, that's the song. And that was a fun moment right there. Thank you for that, TJS. And on that note, I think we're caught up here. So
okay, good. Cut it quick.
Good.
All right.
On that note.
So you can follow me on Twitter if you dare at NoDQ_virtue. And trust me, you'll have fun. And if you don't, then follow me and I'll block you or unfollow you. But anyway, this has been the NoDQ review number 143 for Aaron Rift, for Jeff Meacham, for Big G. I am Virtue. Thanks for listening, watching, super chatting. And guess what? We will be back again next time. See